I'm KaNeya and I'm representing Wynn Junior High School in Arkansas. I am so excited to be a part of AMLE conference and even more excited to be interviewing Mrs. Phyllis Fagell. Mrs. Fagell is a licensed clinical professional counselor, a school counselor, journalist, and the author of Middle School Matters. She also writes Meaningful Middle column for AMLE. Thank you so much, Mrs. Fagell, for speaking with me.
Oh, it's my pleasure, KaNeya. It's so nice to meet you.
My mom and I have been listening to your book, and I was blown away with your thoughts and perspectives. I truly felt you were giving a voice to some of the thoughts in my mind. What inspired you to write this book?
That is a great question. So when I first started working with middle schoolers, I wanted to learn as much as I could about what they needed and what they were like. I had actually been in elementary and high school before that. And when I went to go looking for information, I found that when research was done on kids in middle school, they were either lumped in with older teens or they were grouped with younger elementary school kids. And from everything I could see from working with middle schoolers, it was such a distinct, unique age, and their needs were really different than high schoolers or elementary school students. And because I couldn't find the stuff I wanted to read, I decided to write it myself.
I'll admit, I'm sure most young people around my age think that we're experts on everything going on. Often, my mom or other adults will try to persuade or guide me to see viewpoints and do things their way. There's a section in your book that focuses on adults being honest about mistakes they've made or giving us a real perspective on things they are telling young people. This really stood out to me because it made me better understand the reality of their thoughts. Why do you think this is important, and how can you potentially encourage adults to feel comfortable enough to open up like this?
I think there's a misconception that parents have that if they want to shield their kids from feeling bad, that they're better off not telling them about the mistakes they made, or that they're more likely to prevent their kids from making mistakes if they don't tell them that they made the same ones. And actually, the opposite is true. To your typical seventh or eighth grader, it pretty much looks like as a parent, your life was a straight line from middle school to success. And kids don't really have any idea where their kids struggle, where their parents struggled along the way. And what I found is that if you are honest with your kids and you tell them you hit some bumps in the road, it actually makes it easier for them to take risks and for them to fail and for them to be resilient, because we really want middle schoolers to be taking risks. This is an age when kids' confidence drops, when their creativity drops. And a lot of that has to do with not wanting to look ridiculous in front of their friends or to embarrass themselves. And this is a time when parents can actually help their kids continue to try new things by sharing where they've made mistakes themselves.
Right, it's so hard for us to see anything except what we want to see in front of us.
So true.
Likewise, how can you encourage young people my age to be willing and accepting to receiving this perspective from adults in their lives?
I think that one thing that kids want, and I think something that we all want, and one of the things we need to remember is that there isn't this massive divide between kids and adults. We all want the same thing. We want to feel like we can make a difference. We want to feel like our opinions matter. We want to feel like we can help somebody else and that we have something to offer. And so I think that when parents want their kids to embrace their ideas or embrace their suggestions, they're far better off by coming from a place of curiosity. What do you think would work? Or here's what I found has worked in my own life. What do you think about that idea? I love when parents ask kids for advice because, first of all, middle schoolers are the funniest humans on the planet, and they are the best problem solvers on the planet. And they often have a different way of looking at issues. So if a parent doesn't approach it as I am the genius who's going to solve all of my kids' problems, but instead says, you know what, you are the expert in your own life. And you have as much to teach me about you as I have to teach you about me. And you just show them that respect. They're going to be much more likely to listen to what you have to say. Would you agree?
Yes, very. Why is middle school such a challenging and uncertain time? How can adults help young people cope and make it through without losing our individual sparkle?
Oh my gosh, please don't lose your sparkle. You clearly have so much sparkle. I think that middle school has a really bad reputation, and kids go into it thinking it probably won't be positive, or that the other kids might be mean, or they might be looking for drama. And I think we do kids a disservice when we set them up to expect that, because in my opinion, middle schoolers are really empathetic, but they still are learning how to be good friends. They're still learning what they need from a friend. And so I like to tell kids the truth. And the truth is that there is a lot of churn. There are statistics showing that 2/3 of friendships change from the fall to spring of the first year of middle school. I don't know if you had that experience yourself. Yeah. And if you go into it expecting that this is a time when you're learning how to be a friend and how to choose a friend, and you're expecting there to be that amount of change and shifting going on, you're less likely to personalize it. So I think that's helpful on the social front. And on the academic front, to also keep it real, to say, you're leaving the homeroom structure. You're going to have maybe 7 teachers. How many teachers do you have?
I now have 8, but I had 7 in 6th and 7th grade.
Yeah, so 7 or 8 teachers, and you're going to have to be balancing so many more individual adults and so many more assignments. And so that means you're probably going to have times when you drop a ball. And that's okay. That's what you're learning how to do in middle school. And rather than having kids go in thinking that they should be perfect and that they should focus on grades, because middle school is such a low stakes time to really learn what you need to do to set yourself up for success.
I agree completely. We are definitely trying to figure out who we are and what we want to be around this age. But there is so much meaning and inspiration in your book. What do you hope readers take from it?
I really want adults to have empathy for kids in this age group and to recognize that they are experiencing more change than they have at any point in their life other than from birth to age 2, that they are experiencing this change at a time when they're also really, really aware of how they stack up to others, and their emotions are at such extremes, and they're going through puberty. And this is not a time to personalize interactions with middle schoolers. This is a time to really set kids up for success, to make them feel good about themselves, to give them the skills they need to not just be self-regulated and academically feeling successful and good in middle school, but to take those skills to high school and beyond. And I say that middle school is low stakes because it is. You can fail and rebound really easily, but it's high stakes because if we ignore this phase or lump it in with those older kids or those younger kids, we miss this awesome opportunity to really help turn out good people.
Thank you so much again for speaking with me, Ms. Fagell. I can't wait to finish your book. Once again, this is KaNeya, representing Wynne Junior High School with AMLE.
Thank you, KaNeya.